Coming to you live from the Drew Estate and Gurkha Cigar Studios in the great state of New Hampshire, welcome to the Spare Notes series with your hosts, Matt Tabacco, Pat Chamberlain, and William Cooper.
Good evening, everybody. Hey now. Sorry, I'm still getting a little situated. It's been a little while. Haven't really done a lot of shows lately, and there's a lot of reasons for it, as some of you are probably aware. But it feels good to be back in the studio with Pat. Coop's here with us as well. For another episode of Spare Notes. It's been a long time coming. We were supposed to do this show a month ago, but unfortunately, a series of unfortunate events has unfolded since then, and it's put us off till now. So, I'm tired. I'm tired and I'm exhausted, but mentally mostly. But we're here, and it's good to be here. I probably, outside of Wednesday's show, I haven't really smoked a cigar in probably 3 weeks, maybe more. So this will probably be like my second cigar in the last month, to be honest with you. So I'm really much looking forward to that, as well as just having a nice distraction from life as usual. So gentlemen, it's great to see you, and it's great to be with you. I really mean that. And to everyone at home watching and listening, thank you very much. It's great to have everyone here. How are we? Pat, how are you?
Doing well.
For some reason, I don't hear you. Hold on a second.
I was gonna say, I don't have like the echo.
I don't think his
that
mic's
good.
There you
Oh,
are.
There we go. Hey.
Hey. Coop's old enough to remember that. Hey. Yeah. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh, look at all the love coming in. Thank you guys so much. Thank you very much for all the comments. Sorry, Pat, now that we can hear you, how are you? How's everything been? Sorry, say that again.
I'm doing well. I'm doing very well.
How's the legal life?
It's going full
Yeah.
speed.
Are you putting guys in jail yet? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
No
Yeah.
comment.
Is Dad proud? Is Dad proud? Following in the footsteps? Yeah. See, yeah, he knows. Yeah.
It's busy though.
I know.
And as everyone knows, did you mention during the week I was sick? Got a sinus infection and.
I think I did. I think on Wednesday I mentioned that you guys were sick because we hadn't done Spare Notes. We were gonna shoot to do it last weekend finally, and then both these guys were sick. And I go, no, I'm not gonna make you guys sit there. I know you had a sinus infection. Coop had COVID, and Coop, I know you're still not smoking with us tonight, so which is totally fine. Don't even.
I tried. I did one on KMA. This one was a little tough, so I won't lie. So yeah. So I'm just gonna ease it back in. And it's been a weird month because like I was traveling, came back, was sick for a week after that. So now I'm looking at the calendar. It's the 24th of May, and from the 3rd to the 24th went very fast.
Oh, believe me, I know. I can't. I honestly cannot believe it's already the end of May. Like I don't even remember when April ended. If I'm being honest.
Yeah.
It is absolutely insane.
Right.
You went to Dubai. Which is like, it's not like even for like whatever it was. That's not a small trip, you know. I mean, that's a big deal.
No, and I'm convinced I got sick either at the airport coming back or on the plane because no one I was with in Dubai got it. So
yeah.
And I was doing a lot of cigaring the last couple of days there with the Leaf Master guys, who are awesome guys. So I must have got, normally I mask on a plane, and that's a personal choice. I'm not going to debate it, right? I didn't mask on a 12-hour flight. I just wasn't going to do it. So, either maybe I was going to get it, I don't know, but I got it this time. So
Luke Kelly's already been drinking. He said good morning, and then he corrected himself and said good evening. But oh man,
yeah,
someone's already sauced.
Yeah.
I wish I was.
But it was weird. I come back, your time's all messed up, and then you're sick. So it's like that's it's kind of rough to go through that.
And then you were in D.C.
Yep.
when you got sick. Yeah, so you guys both got sick while you were traveling.
Yeah.
It's always the way.
It is.
It's always the way.
I'd say the past 3 months my office has had different sicknesses going in and out, and I've been like resilient, like fighting off. I haven't gotten anything yet, and then right before I take a trip is when I get it.
Yeah.
You know, it's just always how it works.
Yeah. It's always the way. It's always the way. And then me, I'm perfectly fine, but my daughter's not. In addition to her hip dysplasia surgery, which obviously everyone knows about and keeps asking about, which in itself, the correction of that problem is actually going fine. It is the complications that we have now are really kind of offshoot issues as a result of that surgery. But the correction of that problem is fine. Her bones are fusing and healing and growing back and everything like that, and the whole hip socket and everything that they do, they've done a really great job of that. That's going well. She just now has a serious infection that we have to fight off. But she's doing well. To update everybody, she is doing well, and I just want to let everyone know because obviously a lot of people have been asking, but she is doing well. And like I said, things have come up, but we're dealing with it and we're managing it, and she's okay for now. And so it's just been a lot. My point being, it's been a lot. I've had to take a lot of time away from stuff just to kind of be focused on that, and I put my daughter first. So just for everyone kind of wondering, we've been very scarce here at Smoking Tobacco, and that's a lot of the reason why. Just so everyone knows. But we're doing our best right now. We'll be okay. That's why I'm just really excited to be here tonight because it's just nice to be back in the studio. If I'm being honest, it really is. But anyway, outside of all of that, basically, time frame wise, we're supposed to even though PCA was like a month ago. We were supposed to still do our post-PCA show, which I know you weren't at the show, but I think by now you know enough to be able to contribute to the conversation. Coop, you were at the show. We were together. We spent a little bit of time together in New Orleans, which was nice. As well as Bear Duplessis was there. I got to see Bear. Jay Davis was there. A lot of people. I think Carlito's here commenting on the Fuente Meet the Professor page. I saw him there as well. So a lot of you guys were there.
Yeah.
It was good. I mean, look, a trade show's a trade show. It's always a great time. Outside the floor. Outside the floor. For a lot of the reasons that I kind of just briefly explained, that trade show was very rough for me. It was right after Anastasia had her initial surgery, so which we didn't know we were going to have to deal with all that until, after PCA was already booked and paid for and all that. So it was very challenging. Nicole was supposed to be there, then she didn't go, and then I went with Mitchell, which, once again, thank you to Mitchell for, with short notice, traveling down from Canada to be there with me. He was a great deal of help with that trade show, and I really cannot thank him enough. And congratulations to him because he did formally get married this week. Was it this week or was it like last weekend? When was it? Was it this week?
It was in the last week. I would say. I don't know exactly when it was.
So congratulations to Mitchell, who officially tied the knot. He's been with his wife for a while. They do have a daughter together, Leona. But he's now officially married. So welcome to the club. You've made a big mistake, but that's okay. You'll learn.
Yeah, I had a big milestone this week. I had 35 this week.
You had 35?
35th anniversary was Tuesday.
Please excuse me, although I think it's already probably forgiven. I didn't even know and notice.
I was pretty quiet about it. I was very quiet about it.
But congratulations.
Yeah, no, it was good. Like I said, we were pretty low-key about it. And we did our big trip to Italy last year in advance of it because we didn't want to put it off and something happened. So we did it last year. So we're not doing a big trip this year. Probably next year we'll do another trip. But yeah.
Well, congratulations. I know what 2 years of marriage has been like, and 35 years, man.
Yeah.
You're my hero.
She's still-
You're my
she's
hero.
She puts up. She puts up with me. She puts up with
Yeah,
me. So,
I know. I know.
all I
That's
gotta
how it
say.
is here.
Yeah. No, it's she did great. Yeah. So yeah, it was a big week for us. Yeah.
Which is great. It really is. So
Yeah.
congratulations. And then
Yeah.
you seeing anyone new?
Me, myself, and I, baby.
Did you hit any
Don't
dingers recently that were good? Any home runs?
Any
Any dingers lately, or
I've
The
been
thoughts of
consumed
Give me
by
something, Pat.
Matt Tabacco alone.
Give me something.
I've been consumed by work.
Yeah, all right. Which is
Yeah.
true. Which is true.
When
so
I'm
good,
home,
man.
like the little bit of time I get, I'm watching the Karen Reed trial. So that's my entire day.
Oh, have you been following that?
I've
We
watched-
need to talk about that separately. I'm
Alright.
I'm getting into it now, and I'm just like,
I watched the entire first one as it was happening, and I watched all the motion hearings in between.
Yeah.
and I didn't watch last week, but I'm mostly caught up with this trial.
So without breaking it down right now on the show, what is your feeling at this point?
Well, the first trial, I was extremely convinced that she was not guilty. The
Yeah.
second trial, I think the evidence shows that she hit him, but I don't think.
Yeah,
she-
killed him.
Well, I don't think she intended to kill him, and I don't think that the contact with the car alone is what killed him. But I don't think she'll be found guilty of negligent homicide, just because there's so many. Just things like, I wouldn't even call it reasonable doubt, but just smoke and mirrors that happened that, like the investigation, like Michael Proctor, the lead investigator. It just there's a lot of factors that just stinks. And I don't think a jury's going to be able to get by all of that.
Yeah. For me, there's the I've been out of it for a little bit now, but I was getting into it. There was the thought of the dog theory that he went in the house and something happened with the people who the house it was, and then the dog was involved, and then he's been super shady since then, and there's been some cover-ups there, and do you feel any connection with that, or is all that just kind of nonsense too?
I mean, the dog thing's weird, but again, I don't.
If she didn't kill him, maybe she hit him.
It
but
wasn't. I don't think it was the dog.
Okay.
Because, I mean, there's numerous. I mean, he's dead, right? So pretend it is the dog, right? The only quote bites are on his arm,
Right.
So what? Something other than the dog had to kill him.
But at the same breath, something other than just her hitting him happened, because then he has these bites on his arm.
Well, people think that he got in a fight in the house. Someone hit him on the back of the head. The dog was going crazy. The dog bit him in the arm. Dog attacked it.
Right.
Either they sent the dog at him, or the dog was just, because of the hustle that was going on, the dog just acted that way. But, there's a lot of theories. And again, I think the physical evidence, in regards to the phone, the forensic analyst for the phone and the black box in the car. Plus, the big thing for me is the different interviews that she did leading up to the second trial. And there's inconsistent statements just amongst the trial, the interviews, right? So, it's a tough scenario. At the end of the day, the investigation was not done well, and that's why there's all these kind of holes and everything. So, I don't think it's a big conspiracy. I really don't. The first trial I did, but I don't think that's what's happening. Plus, there's not any evidence of it, because that's why in the second trial they can't talk about a conspiracy, because there's no actual evidence that was admitted prior to trial to bring that to the jury. Now, whether or not during their cross-examination it brings out enough evidence to then move when the defense puts on their case, that's yet to be seen, but I don't think it was a conspiracy.
Yeah. I find it very fascinating, and I feel like these cases come around every so often. When we were when were you born?
98.
Yeah, so I think that was before you were born, but your dad probably remembers and Coop probably remembers, but the OJ trial, that was 95, 96?
95.
Right? It was 95. So I mean, like that was a big one. I remember the Whitey Bulger trial was a big one when they finally found him after all those years.
That's the funny thing is the special prosecutor that was appointed for the Commonwealth is Whitey Bulger's defense attorney. So that's the
Really?
the head prosecutor for it. It's weird.
Yeah, I remember when someone was like, "Oh, they found him. They found him." I was like, "What? They found him?" I figured the guy was fucking dead by now.
Yeah.
They're like, "No, they found him. Like he was like 80-something years old, like, you know, in California." I'm like, of all places, he was like in like, you know, some condo. I'm like, "What?" And then I remember he was in court and trial, and you know, people were yelling at him and calling him rat and all this, and yeah, that was a big trial. But yeah, I feel like these cases, they come around every once in a while, and it's just like, oh shit. And even if, like, whether you care or not what happens, it's just like, I gotta know what it becomes a drama. Like, it becomes no different than, you know, a TV show, because you're like, I gotta know what happens, and you just get sucked in. This one's a good one. So
Yeah, I'd say it's probably it's one of a kind.
yeah.
For sure. I mean, it's typically when there's a mistrial, they don't retry the case, and in this case, they are. You know, I'm curious how it ends. I mean, I really think it's probably going to be a not guilty, but I do think she hit him with the car, whether or not that's a cause of death.
Like, you think she has some guilt, but
Well,
you think she'll walk away though.
Well, I don't, because of everything that's happened. I don't think, like, you know, the question marks. I don't think a jury is going to be able to unanimously find guilt, right?
Yeah.
Like, maybe they will. I mean, they were 9-3 in the first trial for guilt, so I mean, they were close in the first trial. So
It has to be unanimous though, right?
It has to be unanimous.
Like one way or the other.
One way or
Guilty,
the-
not guilty. It has to be all or nothing.
Well, yeah, or it's a mistrial, like what happened
Right.
in the first one. Like, it was 9 guilty, 3 not guilty.
But you got to turn every
It has
witness.
to be.
I
it
mean,
has
a
to be all
juror.
12. Yeah.
Every juror has to go the same way.
Yeah, they have to.
Yeah.
So.
Now, Coop, are you guys hearing about this down in North Carolina? I know it's getting some national attention, but I don't know how much.
Nah, I haven't is the answer. I'm not
You
saying
know
I
about
haven't,
it though, right? The Karen
Barely,
Reed trial. Okay.
I heard of it, but that's about it. Yeah, I couldn't tell you anything about it.
Yeah, that's when you have some time. Look into that a little bit. And
Yeah, but I've heard about it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. But anyway, so that's that, and you know, there's always something going on, right? And you know, it's funny. We were at PCA, and Jay, who's with us tonight, he introduced me to his wife finally, and you know, he said, he goes, you know, Spare Notes is her favorite show. She loves that show. I said, really? I was almost like, why? like I feel bad. Like, I know how this show goes. I know what it's like on here. Sometimes we get a little rowdy, and I'm like, your wife likes this show? He's like, oh yeah, she loves this show. This is her favorite show. And I was just like, oh wow. Well, then it made me happy. And it's just, you know, we go off topic on other things too, and so I just thought of that, and I was like, oh yeah, there we go. There's some more off topicness, off cigar topic, and I know Jay's. I assume his wonderful wife is with him tonight. So maybe not. I don't know, but he'll tell us in the comments for sure. Anyway, sorry. Before I continue to get more sidetracked, it's been a while. I feel like I'm trying to cram like a month and a half worth of conversation into this show right now. What was I gonna say? I know you're not smoking with us, Coop, but
Right.
Pat and I are smoking, and we do have a little bit of business to get to really quickly. Our friends at ST Dupont, that's right, Shake Up the Legacy, featuring the new Monogram Collection Line 2. Patrick over there has the Monogram Collection Biggie Lighter, and, oh, you have a Line 2. What Line 2 was that? Oh, the Monogram. I forgot you had that. I forgot you had that. He has the all black Monogram Line 2, as well as the Biggie. I have the all gold version. With that perfect ping and the twin flames, lights every time, the best accessories, nothing but the best. Shake up the legacy with ST Dupont. And Coop, I know that you're not smoking, but I know that you have ST Dupont products as well.
Yeah, I don't have any of my gear with me, unfortunately. Here, I just realized because
That's okay.
Everything.
Don't stress.
But,
it's okay.
Yeah, but there'll be a review coming up on the Monogram Dupont probably this week. So.
Huh?
I just finished all the photography today for it, so. So yeah, it's a great lighter. So I mean, if that gives you any hint, so there'll be some good coverage on Coop with that.
Yeah, that'll be the first time you reviewed a line too, right?
Yeah, I mean, like my story, I think you know, is I had a line too. I gave it to my dad.
You had a Fender
Really liked
edition,
it. I had that original
the
Fender.
old
So I
Fender
don't know.
edition.
Yeah, he must have lost it because he loved that lighter, and what we couldn't find it. And I don't think it was taken, from him at all. I just think he lost it in his late stage of life. But yeah, and the Fender's coming back. I love those new Fender lighters I saw, for sure.
Yeah, that's funny. You kind of get us right into the conversation there. There was a lot of interesting things about this trade show. I think it's no secret that going into New Orleans for the last year, whenever we found out we confirmed we were going, to be fair, we were skeptical about going to New Orleans, and we talked a little bit of shit.
We all were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit of shit. We were very skeptical. We were very concerned, mostly because of what happened the last time that was there, and with the non-smoking, that's even worse now. But I'll be the first to say, and it'll be more dissected. But on the surface, overall, it was a good show. And I say that because outside of my personal issues that really had me distracted on the floor, I didn't really hear any complaints about any aspect of the show, and I talked to a lot of people while I was there. I didn't see any major problems with the way that the show was unfolding as I was going through the show. I did not have a hard time connecting with people on and off the floor, or off the floor, at nighttime. And I didn't have a hard time getting around. There was more cigar shops than I realized, and with the exception of Cuban Creations or Cuban Crafters, what is it? Is it Creations or Crafters?
Creations.
Yeah.
Crafters in Miami. Yep.
Right. That's what I was saying. I don't know. People call it. I think that's why I was getting confused. Cuban Creations, which was a great spot, but was impossible to get into at nighttime, just because it's a small shop, which is not a bad thing. But when the trade show's in town and like everybody and their mother is like, oh, we're gonna go, it gets full quick. So it's not their fault. It was a great shop. I didn't get to spend as much time there because every time I went there, it was just so packed. And I said, I gotta find somewhere else. It's just like, if I'm gonna hang, like I want to be a little comfortable. And honestly, I spent a lot of time at Manning's on the back patio. It was great. I didn't know what to expect, but when we got there, it was great. I had a great time there. Everything was close proximity. The food was fantastic. I had, been talking about, we just couldn't wait to try the food. I could do 2 episodes on the food that I ate. Overall, it was good. I did not leave New Orleans feeling like, thank God it's over. Like I was pleasantly happy with the trade show. Now, I will let you share your thoughts on the trade show as a whole.
So I gave it an A to trade show. Now I was skeptical about a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
I did see signs that this was going to go well, though. And I was kind of saying I think I have a lot of faith in the organization. And I was going to put the faith in the organization that it was going to go well. And it did. It did. I think I think Mitchell made a really good point, though. The weather really saved the show. I also think but in fairness to the PCA, I think this was so well planned, this show. I'm sure the contingencies would have went fine, too. But I think obviously good weather, it's hard.
I'll give you that.
Yeah,
I'll give you that because there wasn't one thing that was executed poorly. Everything was great.
This was a well-prepared trade show. I mean, Scott Pierce's trade shows were always well-prepared. This was extremely well-prepared. And I just remember how badly prepared these shows were in 2015, which is the reason why we were all skeptical in New Orleans. But I think they won people over in New Orleans. Even we interviewed Jeff Borshowitz, and Jeff was like one of these guys, New Orleans, blah blah blah. I couldn't believe how clean that city was. That was the other. The city was I don't remember it that clean. This is my 3rd time there.
Yeah, so, that was my first time, and I had people telling me like, it's so dangerous there, it's so dirty, and there's this and there's that. I walked around every night, barely took like rides and stuff. I walked everywhere. I mean, I'm not saying nothing doesn't exist. I'm not
Right.
naive, but I mean, I didn't feel like there was any issues, and I felt it was clean. There wasn't shit everywhere. There wasn't trash everywhere. I mean, it was pleasantly clean, actually. You're right.
Yeah.
I never really thought about that, but yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. I'll give that to you. I
I've
agree.
been this is my third time there. Okay, and it was dirty in 2015. And Jeff was the one also who said the same thing to me. He goes, this city was really clean. Now, I'm sure a lot. I don't mean to make this sound wrong. A terrorist attack is going to change a lot of things. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. Where
Well, it's
there
true.
were people who were telling me, it's going to be a disaster, blah blah. No, I knew that part was going to be fine. It would be safe. But here's the other thing that I was amazed at. Oh my goodness, they're having the French Quarter Festival. The city's going to be packed. We can't get a hotel. And you want to know something? I thought the French Quarter Festival was the best thing to happen to this trade show. Yeah, we got a chance to go walk around a bit on it, and it gave you the vibe of the French Quarter. It gave you a lot of the culture of the French Quarter. And if you were walking around the day before, when we skipped Guy Fieri, which we needed some team building. We just really did need to do that,
Yeah.
right? But we walked around there and we got a vibe of this city, and it was like, wow, this is really cool that we're seeing all this cultural stuff happen. And guess what? I knew the hotels weren't going to be an issue because we're a rounding error compared to the French Quarter Festival. Right? They have enough hotels for that. It was the best. I think if I'm the PCA, I look at scheduling this around the French Quarter Festival and maybe even try to do something at the French Quarter Festival with some of the cigar shops there. That's how good I thought that French Quarter Festival was. It really added a nice vibe. Then once the show started, the festival was over anyway. It was ending. So, but
Yeah.
I thought it was nice to have that transition. So again, I thought that was really good. If I had any issues, they weren't related to the trade show. I have a couple of things that I think I need to talk to the PCA about, but they're not related to the trade show. The trade show gets an A, in my opinion. So that was an extremely positive thing for me. If there's other things I think as the Coop team we need to change. And every year we look at how we do things and what can we do better and what can we change. So I think there'll be some changes we're making on that piece as well. Although I was happy overall with what we delivered. We're still, we roll our coverage out very slow. We do 2 booths a day. That's kind of always the model. And the problem is I said we were only going to cover this many booths, and we went like 2.5 times what we said we were going to do. So
Yeah.
so that's a Coop issue we have to resolve because it is a lot of work. And hey, if you see an article out there from anyone in the cigar media, whether it's Smoking Tobacco, Half Wheel, Dojo, Coop, share it, please. It would be really nice. Thank you.
It would be. I agree. I mean, there's only one media group that ever gets shared, and
there's only the only article
everyone knows who it is.
I'm going to say Cigar Aficionado, but okay, I get it, but I'm just saying if you see something you like from someone, right? I'm not saying Coop. Go to any of these because a lot of us really put a lot of hours into this, right? Share it is what I'm just saying.
Yeah, we don't collect a salary from Pope Marvin to do our websites.
But the thing is, it is important because when you share it, we get more views, and when we get more views, we could justify going to the trade show and spending the money we do. So it is important. And I'm asking you to share all 80 articles. I mean, a couple from some of these sites would be real. Last year, right, Matt? You know Law Ream, right? I think he's become a friend of all of us. Law Ream did one of the greatest videos I ever saw at the trade show.
He used to be a media guy. He knows how to do it.
He did a product recap that reminded me of consumer electronics style. It's the greatest PCA video I ever saw. I've told him that. I wish, we'd have to change our model completely. It's not that impossible to do, but basically, you can't do it for every product or every company. You only can do it for a small set. But it was so good and so effective. And I'm like, this is where I want to see coverage go in a lot of cases. I didn't really see anything new with the coverage this year that really kind of said, wow, hey, wow, look where the coverage is heading. It was kind of, and even with us, it was kind of the same drill. We said we were going to do some things. We added a new component. The whole one for the road piece I thought was great. So that was something we did add, but it was still in the context of our usual coverage. So,
right. Yeah, I mean, for us, look, I lost Nicole from going to the show. Mitchell stepped up and came. Pat was unable to go because when he joined the team, it was the end of last year.
Yeah.
It was around Christmas,
Yeah,
right?
it was like November.
Yeah. So I mean, he had just been starting his law career, and I wasn't really sure where we were going to be at quite yet with the show. And then as soon as I, kind of had a better idea, he was already booked for trials and stuff, which anyone in that field or understands that field knows it's not easy to just like take time off. Like once you get assigned to a case and all that, like you own
Sure.
it, and that's it. So he could not get out of that, and which, of course, I mean that's not his fault. I mean I told him like, he's do what you got to do. I mean don't worry about it. So like he was down, and then with this whole thing with Anastasia happened. So it was just me and Mitchell. My point being, there's only so much the two of us. And look, we're experienced with this trade show. I mean, I've done it a bunch of times. Mitchell's done it a handful of times. So he knew the ins and outs. He knows how it goes. He knows what I expect for it, because we all have our quirks on how we like to approach it. Mitchell already knows how I do the show. So it was nice in that regard that we were prepared. We knew what to expect. But regardless, there was only two of us. There's only so much we could do. So, unfortunately, you have to kind of, when you're in that situation, and other guys, I mean, Halfwell's been in that situation before. Like last year, Charlie's sister was getting married, and he wasn't at the show until like the last day, because his sister's getting married. I would probably do the same thing.
I wouldn't have even came if I was him last year.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, even that.
That's his call.
The fact he even made the effort, I mean, it just shows, it just shows how dedicated he is, and how seriously he takes it. I give him a lot of respect in that regard.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Which, look, I know some people don't like Charlie, but I have a lot of respect for Charlie. So, I mean, it is what it is. You guys can figure that out on your own.
We've always gotten the help we need from Charlie. So
I have a lot of respect
for
him.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the whole team. But my point, like they were shorthanded last year. They still had enough support coverage to cover, in depth like they usually do. But I know that they've made some changes. So, we made a decision. Mitchell and I met, and he said, so how are we doing this? And I said, look, at the end of the day, I'm always very transparent. That's why I'm going to share this on the air. And Coop, you don't have to share your stuff publicly if you don't want to. But I'll be very transparent with you. When you can only cover so much of a show like that, you have to, for so many reasons, you have to kind of focus on, if I can't get everybody, I have to go with what's going to bring us the most traffic first and work my way down the list. I'm just going to say it because I don't think there's any reason to hide that. I don't think, we can only get so much. It's like we have to try to prioritize, and it's like what's going to bring us the most traffic, because at the end of the day, the traffic is what makes all this happen. So, unfortunately, yeah, we weren't able to get to everybody. We weren't able to get to a lot of smaller booths that we normally would spend time with. And again, I have to make the best decision for my business, to make it successful and to work. And that's the decision I made. So, and on top of that, I had everything going on at home. I was very distracted during the show. I had a lot of people tell me like, oh, you hold it together really well. I didn't know. And I'm like, but it was a lot. Nicole has having a hard time with Anastasia, and I appreciate her dealing with that so I can go to the show. But I was still a distraction. So it was tough. I had a lot going on in my mind, and I just said, Mitchell, we got to focus here and work our way down. And that's what we did. And to be honest with you, as much as we didn't get as much as I'd like to, we got a lot still. And I was very happy with what we got, and what we saw in terms of the coverage of the show. So again, I just wanted to put that out there and be transparent, because I had people ask me why didn't you come to the booth? I'm like, look, I got to be over here, and I got to be over here, and I got to be over here. And I'm going to get to you if I can. If I can't, I'm sorry, but there is always a method to the madness. And unfortunately, that's how it shook out this year. I was shorthanded. I had to make a decision. So,
I call this, if you're kind of reaching out to me one day a year to come to your booth, chances are I'm not going to come to your booth.
Yeah.
That's just a reality. People say it's cruel. Why? No, because we only have X number of cycles to do this. So there's not really a choice. I mean, so you got to go to your sponsors. They're paying the bills. You have to go to your strategic partners who you know, right? You
Mm-hmm.
have to try to go to people with new products, right, that you know. And then suddenly that list, is filled up very, very quickly. And I like I said, it's not to be cruel or vengeful, but if you're like one of these people sending me a text message the day of the show, like come to my booth, that's not how it works. It's not practical.
Yeah, I'll say the same thing. I had people who, I never hear from and see from, and people I like too. It's like a disrespect thing, but when you see me for the first time in 12 months, you're like, oh, come to my booth, and it's like,
Yeah.
I'm already booked. Like, we're already here. It's like I won't say no. I won't be like I'm not coming, because I don't think mentally that's ever the right approach. I mean, I think my mind is always like even the team that's in 12th place is like we're still trying to at least make the playoffs. You know what I mean? So it's like until you're eliminated, that's the goal. So it's like we're gonna try if we can get in there and we can make it work. But until that show, until they're ripping the carpet up, I mean. I'm going. I'm going until after the show is over, and whatever I get is what I get. And
the most interesting thing was, and I get this. Well, Coop only goes to me if we get a press release, which is complete fiction, right? Because I can prove you wrong. I can prove people wrong 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Right. So one of the questions I was asking at the trade show was on pricing and the price increases and the tariffs, right? And I pretty much got the same answer from everybody. The majority of them. We're going to deal with it when we get back from the show, right? So, and that was kind of the comment. There were a couple people who knew what they were doing, but for the most part, it was we're going to deal with it when we get back from the show, right? I don't know. Would you say that was the answer you got?
I wouldn't disagree with that.
Yeah,
I wouldn't disagree with that.
So the best thing is, and this isn't the best thing. Southern Drawer Cigars and Robert Holt, who I like Robert Holt, right? Who, in my opinion, he used to have the best media communications in the business, and they've gone downhill. Okay, it has gone into the toilet.
Yes, they have.
Right. I mean, and I know there's issues with the family, and I feel for them. But bottom line is the communications went away. So I saw some bungled communication on his price increases, right? And I actually commented. I said, "Hey, man, would have been nice if you told us about this stuff, right?" And his answer was, "Well, you should have called us." Well, first of all, that's fair. Okay, I'm not going to argue, but it's not practical. First of all, I just called a bunch of companies. At the show, I talked to a whole bunch of companies. No one knew what the heck they were doing. But second of all, if you think you're going to get a phone call on price for a price increase from me, you might as well just wait by the phone because it's not going to happen, right? I don't report price increases for the most part. A couple of exceptions I'll make here and there. I don't report on it. It's not.
Me too.
It does not generate traffic. Okay.
However, I get it, if they tell me, I'll put it out. If it's someone that we're very close with and they're going to give that information to me, all right, but I'm not calling everyone and be like, what's your price plan this year?
Right, especially
I'm not doing it.
Retail. Yeah, it's just, and it's very low yield, okay? It's a very low yield thing, but I want the pricing information. Doesn't mean I don't want, because when I review and we have the product, I want the pricing information. That's all I want is I want it. I'm not looking to report that you're ready. And believe me, I've had arguments with people in companies saying we don't want the media getting their hands on. I said, well, I'm just going to call your retailers if I want to get it. And that's what I have to do half the time is get an updated price sheet. I message retailers to get it, right? Because I got it, especially, as prices are going up in the last year with released products, I got to have accurate pricing information.
Watch this.
Because that's one of the, yeah.
Do you know wholesale on this?
Is it Tatuar?
Yeah. Don't say it, but you know it.
I do.
Yeah, that's all I need.
Right, but he knows it. I don't know it.
But that's all I need. That's all I need.
So if you think that, look, if you're taking the time to email your retailer, right? This was the funny part. It's like, oh, you should. If you're taking, how hard is it to add the media distribution list into that same email and send it out? Don't tell me I should have called you when you emailed your retailers and bungled it up, by the way, when you emailed your retailers, right? So, to me, I just looked at that, and I know we got off the topic of the trade show, but this came up at the trade show.
No, I mean it's good. It's valid.
Yeah, I mean, so the answer is that's the answer there. And I get this every year. Oh, Coop wants a press release. I'm like, well, I guarantee, I challenge you to find me. I guarantee you'll find as many articles that were not press released from us at the trade show and on Matt's site as anything. Like, I can tell you about some of the companies. Chamali was the big, the small company out of Nicaragua. I mean, we didn't have any press releases from them.
Chamali?
Yo, they were the revelation of the show. Yeah, Chamali. They're a company. I think they're a Chinese American company. So there's some Chinese heritage stuff on the cigars, and they're not people from. If I remember, it's not a company from China. They're based here in Nicaragua, but they were absolutely the find of us at the show. Like our team loved their cigars. Nielsen went the first day. He gave us these cigars. He goes, "You guys got to smoke it." We went back to the house at night. We smoked them, like real deal, and we went and covered them. So, and in that case, it was just a company. We were trying to scope out new companies that day. So, the point is, there's a lot of coverage that's out there that if you think our Fuente coverage had press releases, there were no press releases for that. I mean, I called Carlito. That's what I did. I talked to Manny Ariadne's son, and then I called Carlito to fill in the blanks. And guess what? I got the answer very quickly for everything I needed.
Yep.
So and by the way, have we talked about how great a show Fuente? I know I was big on Altadis. I think Altadis had a great show.
Yeah,
how big a show did Fuente have? I mean, I don't ever remember a show from Arturo Fuente with that much excitement with the products coming as I can remember, and that includes Fuente Padron. Okay, this was so much more exciting. The innovations that are coming with this company are second to none right now. They're absolutely taking it to another level, Fuente. If you're a Fuente fan, my goodness, you have so much to look forward to right now. Because they knocked it out of the park.
I agree. I mean, there's still a lot of Fuente naysayers out there, and it's like, dude, just give it up. Just give it up, dude. I mean, they're doing everything they're supposed to do as a business. You look at it from a business thing. They are doing all the right things. They're growing. They're working with people. They got great projects with themselves. They get great projects, externally. SC Dupont, Ellie Blue, Brizard. What was the fourth one? They did a fourth one. There was a fourth thing. It might be Manny's. Manny's. The Golden Bullet. That's a lot of stuff outside of their booth.
Guess what? A Habano version of the Añejo's coming. A Mexican wrap cigar under the Don Carlos line's coming.
With Corojo.
With Corojo. Yes, with Corojo.
Mm-hmm.
I know they have the double wrap cigar as well.
Which I believe Carlito grew that Corojo at Chateau La Fuente.
I believe so, too. The Black Pinks are finally coming.
Yep.
You know what? They're finally releasing the other Opus X25 size. The Churchill size is now going to be released through Fuente, so it's going to be bigger distribution.
And they've teed up Opus 30 with the teaser about the key, which
the key in the box. Yep. The key in the box is going to be. If you saw the Perfectos, there's a key in the box, and that key in the box is supposedly something connected to Opus 30. Carlito's going to keep that under wraps, I'm sure, for a while. You know what was really nice? Everything was in one cabinet this year, so it was easy to see the new stuff this year. Thank you, Carlito, for doing that. I was just thinking, imagine if those, because normally you go to the Fuente booth and they love planting these Easter eggs in there, right? Where there's little things hidden in there and you don't know quite where it is.
I gotta give a lot of thanks to Carlito, Tommy Curtis, Brad Jarvis, Cynthia Fuente,
Cam Ariadne, who was Manny's son.
Rich Dolak, everybody over there, just so helpful. Jose Blanco,
even Jose, he was helped. Yeah.
Those I gotta give them all a shout out because they all helped us. They were very instrumental in making sure that we had everything that we needed to know. Which again, most of the booths were good, but that particular booth has so much traffic. There's a lot going on. It's difficult. Anyone who's ever tried to cover that booth, it's difficult. I'm standing there. And I'm having a conversation with Carlito in the booth, about tobaccos and the blends and stuff. And I got a girl from Instagram who's standing like right here, like, trying to get his attention because she wants to do an Instagram video with him. And I'm like, I'm conducting business here. Like, what's going on? But I got what I needed, and anything I didn't have, the support team there was fantastic.
And look, the other thing I said is I thought there was a very lack of cigar coverage of the Fuente booths. So I think Half Wheel, you and I did it.
Yep.
And I don't know if the Dojo guys did it. Maybe they didn't. I missed it. But I didn't see a heck of a lot of Fuente coverage. I mean, this is including some of the Instagrams. But But again, if you were kind of trying, how many people knew that? I know people who did not know Fuente had 7 releases at this trade show.
I know.
Seven. How many people did not know that? Was so. Look, I think Fuente did a good job of promoting that they had stuff in the booth. If you went on the Instagram page, you knew that there was stuff. So it wasn't like they were.
Especially that week when they really started teasing it, it was like
Just,
we kind of knew at that point, like, all right, now we really know
Yeah.
we just need to get wrapper binder filler and get out of there.
I didn't get wrapper. I didn't bother with wrapper binder filler. I mean, there were a couple cases I did, but and a lot of that stuff, I just kind of tried to say, give me the story of this cigar. That's what I look. Give me the story of this cigar. And if you have wrapper binder filler, that's great. Like Sangre de Toro, some of those you had to know the wrapper binder filler story, especially the wrappers, especially with the rare earth and the Don Carlos 90th and the
90th. Yeah, all that.
Yeah, some of those you had to know it, so I get that. Some of the stuff, like, they just didn't have it yet. Or they didn't have the sizes yet, stuff like that. But I was like, because the stories behind each of those were very interesting that they had. And I thought, so I thought Fuente had a big show. I don't ever remember a show that big from Fuente. Carlito was like, in fact, they actually finished second on our team in the vote behind Altidus, and Altidus deserved it. They had a great show, but not our whole team went to the Fuente booth, where it was the issue. And that's just, the logistics of things. Like, Tripp and I covered Fuente this year. Bear and Bear didn't. So they were relying on, what we reported back. And that's the difficulty of having two teams sometimes with that.
The other one that had a lot of releases that, I have to say, since I've been doing the show, it has always been well. And I got to give you credit where it's due, is Tatuaje. I mean... Pete did a great job. What he does a little different is he kind of basically uses the show to say this is what's coming in the next 12 months. Mm-hmm. So some of the stuff he'll talk about more than other stuff is what I find every year with that. But I think it's a nice, good, holistic view. Like, okay, Tatuaje's got all these things on tap this year. And okay, we'll some of the devil of the details will come out later on. But, obviously a big year for him with the Corojo this year. This is Corojo year for Pete. A couple years ago it was Tuxa. Yeah. And I'll tell you, I've smoked a bunch of it already. Wow.
I liked what he did with the Cajono Corojo last year. So
oh yeah.
I loved the
was on our list.
The Veracruz Blue was top 10 for me, number 1 for Bear. So that was the same wrapper. So now he's doing you want a T110 that's coming out with it.
Very good.
Avion's coming out with it. I'm really curious about that Avion. Putting that over that, because that's the Avion's the Fausto blend essentially. So I'm really curious to see what that's going to be like.
He's got the 2 new sizes of the Fausto. He's got a Corojo T110, a Corojo Cohetes. He's got I think a Corojo. Is it a Corojo and a Tuxla version of the 7th?
Yes, and they're going to be regular production, it sounds like, too.
Yes. So here's the other thing. Kind of a big one. Most people probably know about it because it's out now. But at the time, the pork tenderloin was kind of like... He had told some of us about it. We knew it was coming. It wasn't really fully announced. But people kind of knew that it was coming back. And I noticed it wasn't in the booth. And when we met with Pete, he said,
They sold it ahead of time.
Yeah, like we didn't want to put it out because we didn't want it to take away from everything else because it's mostly already sold. It's so popular. It's perhaps one of the most popular releases that he's ever made. And I thought that was, as cool as it would have been to see it in the booth for all the photos and shit. It made a lot of sense. It was like, this is gonna be like, taking away all the attention. Let's not, because there's so many other great cigars here that they have that I think that was the right call. Surrogates, the backline is coming out, which is a nod back to his days, playing in the band before he was even in, cigars, which I thought was cool. What else? He had a bunch of stuff. The only thing we didn't see was anything related to like the monsters. Because like the last couple years, he had like the Monster Mash, the Monster Smash.
Mummy's coming though. He did confirm to us.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Again, so it's like we know it's coming, but there wasn't anything like out of the ordinary like we saw the last couple year. So
yeah,
which is fine.
Yeah, I could see Monsters putting a pause a bit. At least from these samplers. With that, so I was I'm okay with that, so to speak, with it. He has a new PCA exclusive coming out. Which I believe is using the Corojo wrapper this year.
I think he is. Yeah. Another one.
He did talk to us a little about the Honduran stuff, and he does have a Honduran release in the works. It looks like it's an off. He's going to start. He's kind of letting the Garcias kind of get the spotlight right now. So, but he will be. But I think there's a version of the Series P which is going to be coming out in the Honduran blend. And that's what he's going to start out with. But there'll be a lot more of the Honduran stuff that you'll probably be seeing in 2026 for him, for sure.
Yeah,
so,
especially considering that the Garcias are already working with it. And which, by the way, we transition over to my father, who once again was our Factory of the Year. They had their first release, the My Father Blue, which is Honduran tobacco that they grew from their Honduran factory that they just opened. I've smoked it.
I did too.
And for me, we got a long way to go, but I've already notated it as a favorite.
It missed everyone's list on the Coop team. But that
really
is not. Yeah, but let me explain. We've had cigars win the Coop list and not make the end of the year list. So that doesn't mean anything. It's just it's first impressions off the trade show floor is all it is. Or coming home with it. So it did not hit for me. I'll be honest with you, but that is a show sample. So that's why I don't review show samples. So I have you. How many times, Matt, have I gone to you? Right, I got this cigar at the show, and it was
handful of times.
Paladin de Saka,
Saka Khan,
right? I'm like, man,
Krakatoa.
And
a lot of it seems to be Saka, but there's other brands. I promise
but
you.
Then what happened?
I was right.
It's on your list. It's on your list. So
I was right.
Well, a lot could have to do again with factors beyond the weather, the environment. So like I said, that means nothing. I will tell you. We had 3 people on the Coop team smoke Perdomo Legacy Shade Grown, and all 3 of them had it as the #1 cigar, hands down. So,
Perdomo Legacy is right there next to the My Father Blue on that list. As of right now, yeah, my Legacy's up there.
Yeah. So that was like the 3 of us got the cigar.
Have you seen the Legacy yet? Oh, I'm gonna get you one before you leave.
Yeah. I have I see Mitchell's comment. I have them Maduro in Connecticut. I haven't lit them up because I got them while I was in Dubai. They came. So I still have to smoke those, but I will say, like I said, the Shade Grown, like all 3 of us who had it, and we smoked it on the floor. We came off, and it was a hands down winner in our book as the #1 cigar of the show. 3 guys didn't have it, but it was enough to when we did the overall consensus. I don't have a better word. I'm sorry. When we did our Coop consensus, and we always invite a guest. Like this year, it was a retailer. It was Jay. Not everyone had, but it still had enough to win the consensus. So,
yeah, Perdomo Legacy. I mean, and since we're on Perdomo, I mean, they had a great show. As always, Perdomos are very. It's hard to really go on and on about them, and that's not a bad thing. It's just. Look, they're really good at what they do. They know what they're doing. They know how to release a product. They don't release something new every year. When they do, they know how to release it. They did a great job, especially with something that's as monumental as Legacy. I smoked it on the floor with the Perdomos, and I was like, I just looked at them. I'm just like, yep. I was just like, yep.
When they brought back the ESV about 6 years ago, that started them on this tear. That started them on this tear, and they have been one of the dominant companies. Release after release, then the 10s come out, and look, the Immenso 70s are a great value, is what I'm gonna say too, and I've done well for them. Then the 30th comes out, and then you think this could top the 30th. I mean, this could top the 30th. That's a hell. And what I tell people is, if it's Perdomo, you could tell what the DNA is in Perdomo. They don't all smoke the same, but there's a DNA in Perdomo. This cigar had a little bit of a different DNA to it, especially that Shade Grown. that I thought was wonderful. I mean, it was like, that's great. Perdomo coming out with it, because everything they've done is sun-grown up until this point, right? So I just thought, and, I've been on the tours. I've seen what they see the agronomy. I'm not surprised. So they had a huge – did you go to the unveiling or no?
No.
I didn't.
But-
I had an appointment, so I couldn't go.
But I was in the store when they came up here to do the launch. I was with Nick and Nicholas and Janine and Arthur.
Yeah,
and
I remember you and I talked when I got back from Dubai on that. Yeah, well, we were messaging when I was in Dubai. I'm like,
I bought one of the last boxes of Bellicosos they had. That was the size that sold out.
Lisa ordered mine, luckily. So I asked her. I said, if you see him, if you see the alert come in, just because it goes to the Coop account, and she went and just ordered them right away. So I got them. I got a box of the shade growns and some of the Maduros and Connecticut. So
yeah, shade grown was, I mean, wow. I'll say the same thing about the legacy that I said about My Father Blue, to everyone who's asked me so far, because they're both very similar, in ways that the company kind of did something a little bit different, but they kind of still kept their identity with it. Those were both executed flawlessly. They were different cigars, but they were still represented those brands. The Perdomo Legacy, I lit it up, and it was the Nicaraguan shade grown. It's different. It's not what you're expecting when you light up a Perdomo, but at the same time, it smokes like a Perdomo, and it's nice because for me, it's like, well, it's the kind, like I love Perdomo's lines. I mean,
oh yeah,
Perdomo Sun-Grown, arguably, no matter what blend it is, their sun-grown cigars are, I've said it for years, they're arguably my favorite sun-grown cigars. When I had that Nicaraguan shade grown, I was with Nicholas, I looked right at him, and I was just like, this is different, but it's still you. Like, your identity as a brand is still here, but it's different. It's refreshing, because it's just something different, but it's still like, I don't feel like it's like, oh, this is so weird. It's still in a Perdomo experience, just with a nice new flavor profile. He looked, he was like, yep, that's exactly what I wanted. And I'm like,
yeah,
flawless. I was very impressed. Same with My Father. I mean, it actually kind of opposites. When you smoke at My Father, you're ready for all that spice up front and that pepper and traditionally a lot of their lines. My Father Blue was not like that. And yet the opposite with Perdomo, you don't always necessarily have like that strong spice pepper up front that hits you out of the gate like a lot of my fathers do. And this does have it, and you're like, wow, I'm not ready for that. But it was good. It was good. And the rest, like I said, the rest of it still felt like a Perdomo. And I think that it's early, but those are two of my favorites. There's a few others we'll probably get into later. But yeah, I mean, those were two solid releases, and hats off to the Perdomos, another great release. So
yeah,
good for them. Good for them. And then of course, there's the other company that gets a lot of attention at the trade show every year. I don't know. You probably already know where I'm going with this.
No, I don't.
Every year, it's the one company I think that.
Saka?
Oh no! I mean, why that would be too obvious, right? That would be way too obvious.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I figured it was too.
Yeah, no, it's Saka. Just fucking around.
Well, the people, I didn't want to put this cigar in a box.
Hold on. We're looking at you. Come on,
Yeah,
it's
we
your
gotta
time to
Look,
shine.
It can't be on request. I have to just do it.
Did you? All
I
right.
need to wait until Coop's driving to see if I can get him to hit something.
Dude, I almost drove off the road when you did one.
He did.
The sampler. Oh my.
He called me. He goes, I heard Pat and Steve. I almost crashed the car. I was like, yep, I know.
It was so good. I know it was like it was spot on. I think you were talking about the samplers, and it was like
yeah.
This
Yeah, it was when you were talking about, because remember how he was like, oh, it's
why are the Coraline Sober Mesas not in the sample?
Yeah. And it's supposed to be like the ones he likes the most, and then you went on this whole like, well, that's what I like, but like,
I go, oh my god, I almost crashed the car. I was like,
so there was two There was two things that he said to me in that interview. I mean, he said a lot of things, but there's two things that stick out to me the most. He was talking about double wide. Was it double wide? No, it was the Mike Rita. And he was talking about how he put the bullet tip on it. I don't know if he did this in your interviews, but with my interview, and for those who get offended, like, whatever. Look, people know how I am here. It is what it is. But I didn't say it, so don't hold it against me. But Steve just so dry and Steve-like, just so blunt, not even trying to make a joke. Yeah, we went with the thicker ring gauge. We put the bullet tip on it, so that way when it's in your mouth, you don't feel like a gay porn star, And I was just like,
Steve, you can't.
did he really say that? Like,
Oh, boy.
but then I'm like, you know what? He said it, so you know what? It came out of his mouth. That's on him. But you know what? Whatever.
I'm gonna give you a heresy thing. I didn't do the soccer interview. Bear and
How dare you?
we were there. Tripp did his small piece, and then we had to go cover someone else.
And then the other thing he said to me.
Heresy. Yeah.
The other thing he said to me, because how many releases do you have? 9? Was it 9 releases? He says to me, he's like, do you know anyone that had as many releases as I did? I said, there was a few people that came pretty damn close. And he was like, well, they'd be stupid if they did. He's like, it's really stupid for someone like me to just, or anybody, to have this many products being released. It's too many. It's really too many. And I just thought it was funny because it's like he always does this thing where it's like he does something full well, like this is what we're doing, like they planned for, these things, we know. Like this takes time to put releases together. This is not like he decided 2 months ago, like fuck it, let's put this out too. Like, and then he comes to the show and he talks about it all, and he's like, it's really stupid. I shouldn't have this many things. If it's like, but Steve, you wanted this many things. You know what I mean? It's just and the reality is he could have 30 new releases. They're all gonna sell. I mean, it's just how it is. Soccer puts out some people like, oh my god, Steve's new stuff's out. It's like they moth to a flame. There's not many people who can do that. Although, I'm gonna hold that back. I'm gonna hold that back until. I was gonna say something else that I heard, but no, I'm gonna keep that to myself for now. I'll stop myself there. Anyway, yeah. So me and Coop did a Steve, and yet you haven't yet. You're the Steve guy.
It's got to come organically.
It's got to come organically, I know. It's just fun because you do it the best. I do a lot of good impressions, but I mean, when it comes to Steve, that is your department.
That was that one he did. Oh my goodness, it was hysterical.
And the thing is with Pat, like some people do an impression, like they keep it short. Like when I do them, like it's kind of short. Like I can't really go on and on with it. It's like I perfect certain parts, and Pat can not only do the impression, but he can also do the long rambling that Steve does, where he can just keep going on and on and on, like Steve would do, and hold the character that long. Like I can do good impressions. I couldn't go for 15 minutes with it. I can do bits here and there.
Yeah, it was kind of a ramble, which made it really good because it had that ramble. It was in clear ramble mode, so it worked well.
Yeah. I mean, have you smoked anything new from Steve? Has anything come out yet?
I smoked Solita and Fratanga, and I was.
We smoked Solita Red.
Yeah, Solita Red, you're the Duque. I had a sample from the trade show of the Red Meat Lovers. I smoked that.
The Fratanga, you smoked that over here. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I mean, everything that's come out, I've smoked so far. That's been shipped.
You had You're the Duque.
I had You're the Duque.
Yeah. I have You're the Duque. I haven't smoked it.
I haven't smoked it yet.
I wasn't blown away by it. It wasn't bad, but I don't know.
I was.
Well,
really
what would Steve say about it?
You really want it, don't you?
I do. It's all right. If it don't happen, you know what? If it don't happen organically, it don't happen. It's all right. Oh, what's this comment from Jay? Jay Davis. We actually listened to Steve talk about his balls being on camera for a solid 5 minutes. PCA.
That's an old Coop interview. That's an old Coop interview from PCA that Bear did. I want to say it was 2021 or 2022. Yes. I forget. It had something to do with the heat in Vegas and putting it as when his balls were on the cold floor, it was good. It was, not something I talk about a lot. That comes from a Coop interview.
Well, now I know. I'm gonna have to find that. I don't think I ever saw that one. I have to watch it.
I gotta remember
we
the
both
year
have to watch that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Steve was he looked good. He looked good. He
We got him grumpy. We got him grumpy.
Did you?
We got him somewhat grumpy because we always go to him on the last day as our interview. So
I think I got him 3 o'clock on Sunday. So I got him right in the middle.
yeah, we got him a little grumpy. He was grumpy about some stuff going on with the trade show staff and all. Not the PCA staff, but the convention center staff. So
He always finds a gripe. You can't knock him though. I mean, he's
yeah. Yeah, so
I had a couple of questions here. I don't think they did, but Coop, you can confirm. I had a couple people asking, did Viaje exhibit? I don't think they did.
they did not.
No. In fact,
Andre's been there, but it's not his model because he doesn't really have his releases are very small batch releases, so it doesn't really pay for him to do it.
well, I was gonna say, which reminds me, most people I think exhibited one way or the other. In fact, the people who didn't exhibit was like Viaje. I know Ian Reith from Dapper wasn't there. Colibri
Sam wasn't it? Yeah.
Sam wasn't there. Colibri wasn't there because it was Passover.
Passover. That's why I had heard with that. But Colibri hasn't had a presence there in a few years now. They used to be one of the big booths to go to years ago. That's why I first met Les actually. So
yeah.
There were a few others that missed the show. Wildfire I didn't see there. That's Jeremy McDonald's company.
Oh,
and really the other, yeah. And
That's right.
technically, not that they skipped it, but their brand skipped it. Was the general side of STJ wasn't there this year.
Yeah, but they've been doing this thing where I think they rotate 1 year general.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's still so they didn't like skip the show for a lot of these. It seemed like small West Coast companies skipped the show this year. So.
By the way,
Ian and Sam are both West Coast companies,
and they're smaller. I think there's a lot of. I get it. I get it too. I get it. I know why they didn't. It made sense for them, and from a business standpoint, it makes sense. What I was gonna say is you mentioned Les Mann of SD Dupont, and who at one time did work for Colibri, but we talked about Fuente. Right. But then we kind of glazed over the fact that Dupont had a great show. And
what a show they had, yeah.
Wow. I mean, take the unveiling out of it, which I know Les would not want me to say. Yeah. We're going to talk about it, but just take that away from it. Just what they did by themselves, fantastic show. And the way that they handle the media, the way that they handle the retailers, the presentation, like everything. There's a reason why we work with them. They are top notch.
Yeah. They're very accommodating too for our needs, and everyone has a little bit of a different way they cover the show. And I think what's great about Dupont is how they kind of like we say, Les, we need this, and this, and that works out really well for us. So and I think that big release, they didn't even have all the details on it yet because I think it's coming out later in the year. But they previewed it was the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. So I think that's kind of more details coming with that is what I got impressions. But, that Superman set, that Fender set. Hey, it was kind of funny. You and I were having a discussion about this product only a couple weeks before the trade show, and it comes out, the Line 1. Remember we were talking about Line 1?
Well, yeah, it's, because, and I remember asking Les about Line 1s, and he was like, oh, yeah, like, and he kind of like downplayed it, and I was like, what's that all about? Then I get to the trade show, and I looked at him, I go, you have Line 1s coming out? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, I just asked you about Line 1s, about something else. When I was writing the review on the Line 2, I was trying to do the backstory. And I was like, what's the history on Line 1? And he was like, don't worry about Line 1. And he like wanted to get out of it. And then like we go to the trade show, I was like, oh, we have Line 1s coming back. I'm like, what the fuck?
That was a Jose Blanco Les Paul. That's a Jose Blanco. Like, that's Jose Blanco block and tackle when he doesn't want to talk about something, right? So,
you got to give it to Les, man. He knows how to play the game.
He knows how to play the game. So, of course, the Drew Estate stuff, we're leaving, don't leave that out. That looks really impressive. So,
well, yeah, I was going to say that's another big thing is they had the Liga Aniversario the humidor with the cutter and lighter. That is essentially really, and it's essentially these two, and it's essentially these two.
And the humidor.
It with the humidor, and then they have the Liga 10 Anniversario logo on them.
Yeah.
And it looked great.
Look great. And I think the Drew Estate's distributing that piece is the difference.
Yes, I got that feeling.
Yeah, but yeah.
By the way, sorry, I do want to say this again because for some reason, at least on my end, I seem to find that there's been a lot of misconceptions on that. It was displayed with cigars in the humidor. The cigars do not come in the humidor. When you buy that set, good. It's humidor, cutter, lighter. That's all you. There's no cigars. I just want to stress that because I've had a lot of people ask about it, and I think the photos from the show when it first went out, it was a little deceiving. And I didn't think to notate it at first because, sorry, I'm getting the hiccups now. Shit. Because I didn't think about it. Because I knew just in my head, like, it's just these three things. But then it was like, well, do the cigars come with it? And it was like, I had to clarify. And I'm like, no, that does not come with cigars, just so people know. Because then there was a rumor going around like, oh, there's a special size that might be in there. No, it's no cigars. It's just the three accessories. There's no cigars to it. Sorry. I just wanted to say that again. Oh, Les is with us. Look at that. Les is here.
Yeah. No, so like I said, we were just at, it was a tremendous show they had, for sure. And just a lot of compelling product releases that I saw there that was just so impressive. It kind of warmed my heart to see the Fender stuff, obviously, because, that's a special release for me to begin with. So that was, and I've already asked my wife to get me a Superman lighter, so I don't know if I'm gonna get it, but we'll see. Because I said I just was like blown away, and it's a booth you have to spend some time in. You can't go in and out of that booth. Do not save that booth to the last day, which we did one year, and I think that was a mistake on our part. We know now to get on Les's calendar earlier on and get there, because certainly there was a lot to do with that. So, by the way, the Fuente collection, how brilliant was it? And I thought just taking the colors of the Opus X, right, on the base collection, and then using the different Opus X colors on the whole collection was to me, it was absolutely. And how about that bobble? I mean, that bobblehead. I know we've talked a lot about the Room 101 humidor as being that bobblehead. It's incredible. It was incredible. See Carlito's reaction with that bobblehead was pretty good too. So, like, wow. He's
Which, by the way, sorry, Les, you owe me a phone call, buddy. Sorry.
Less alone. Less alone.
I know. I just, he and I, we got this nice chemistry.
Yeah. He's.
I just want to bust his balls a bit.
What a great asset to our industry, and and there's a lot of questions that come up after trade shows a lot of times, and I have to reach out to people. Les has been getting a lot of those questions from me over the past couple of weeks. So, because what I've learned, Matt, is I don't get everything at the trade show. You just can't. You have to cover some of it afterwards.
He's the best.
Not only is it just impractical to get some things, but at times it's impractical for the person, working the booth because they got a million things going on. So I've learned that, and Les I know is a guy I could just message and pick up a phone, and it makes it easier. So
the other thing too is
yeah.
Well, I'll echo that, and I'll add, as I've said, that show was very stressful for me because of everything going on at the home front, and I have to say, from day one, Les was on a personal note, because we have a business relationship with everybody, and we have personal relationships with a lot of people. I have both with Les, and Les was a great friend when I needed it at the show. As was actually, I'm going to mention this too. You obviously, I've talking to you more than anyone recently, actually, and Matt Booth actually. The two of them actually were really there for me a lot, just to help me, get my mind off of things and just with all the stress with everything that I was dealing with. So I wanted to take a minute to give them that public appreciation, because not because I have to, but I want people to know that they're great people, but especially Les. And you know, I have to say he really was very supportive. I don't want that to go unnoticed. He really was. He was really good. I really needed it, so I just want to thank him again for that. He was awesome.
Yeah, it's like I said, we really can't deliver the type of coverage we deliver without having guys. And there are certainly other lessons out there, but you know, Les is obviously the best. So, you know, thanks for that, because it's hard. It's a hard thing to do. It's trade show is very stressful, and you know, when you get that kind of support, particularly after the trade show, it's very important. So, yeah, thanks for that. You know, like I say, this year, like every company I've had to follow up with has been tremendous this year. I haven't had to pull on any ropes this year. So, I even messaged Carlito like the day after the trade show. He got back to me very quickly too. So,
Yep, me too.
he answered all my questions I needed answered. So, it was great because when he called me, we were driving back from Biloxi, and Ben was driving the car, so it was actually perfect. I could jot notes down and everything. This was a good time to do that. So, I lucked out when he called back. So,
yeah, I was gonna say, you know, that's the other thing about the show is most of the manufacturers and everyone that we worked with, they were pretty good. I mean, we've already mentioned a few, but you know, I mean, the ones we haven't yet, maybe not because we won't get to them or anything, but I just want to make sure we say it. You know, like J.C. Newman, that whole group, they were fantastic. Rafael Nadal, you know, over at Altadas USA, I mean, he was fantastic. Everyone from my father and Tatuaje was fantastic. The support we got from them.
STG was great this year too. And,
STG,
you know,
STG was
I know
good.
we didn't have Victoria. I know we didn't have Victoria this year, but it went relatively good this year. So I got to give them credit.
Drew Estate was good. You know, I sat down with Josh. You know, like they've had a couple of people that we get used to working with, and like, you know, Joe Groh left, and then Jack Heyer left, and then Tom left right before the show. And now he's with Davidoff. But you know, I went into that booth, and you know, it wasn't. I mean, Drew Estate's one of the big companies, but you know, they didn't have like 40 different releases, so it was pretty easy. They took care of us. I sat down with Josh. He gave me some of his time. I appreciated that. You know, they were great, you know, as usual. And you know, and Drew Estates is a huge part of what we do. Obviously, you know, they're here with us, you know, tonight, and you know, with trade show coverage and a lot of stuff. So, you know, Drew Estate was great. You know, I would say all the big four were great. You know, even Davidoff. You know, like this was my first show with Davidoff on the floor. So I can't really compare it to the old days when they were on the floor. But
they did a good job.
This was a great job. I really liked the way they broke up all the brands, and then each brand ambassador was front and center. And they, you know, Jack, Law, Gabrielle Winchester, Alex.
Alex is great, man. I know him better. I really like talking to Alex.
I haven't really engaged with him before. I was like Jesse Friedman is someone that I always used to engage with, and Eddie Guerra. And when Eddie Guerra was there, you know, but I didn't really get to like know Alex before that. But yeah, I mean, they were all great. The way they handled it during the show, that was another one. Davidoff was great to work with at the show.
Yeah, they were tremendous. Like I said, I thought they had a good show, and I think, you know, the push on Zeno was very evident this year. So, look, if I've gotten them, you haven't been with them before, but it always has been Davidoff, Camacho, Avo, and then when Booth was there, that was the fourth one, right? And then it's kind of been quiet since obviously Booth left and they stopped going to trade show. But Zeno was, like I said, they were there in a big way. I say this to people: the most read review on Cigar Coop last year was a 2023 review. This is for 24 now. Was the Zeno Nicaragua? People are seeking information out of that cigar. I see the analytics. And I know it's doing well for them. And they previewed the red, so they have this red line coming, which I believe is a Maduro version of the Nicaragua. It's already out in Europe, from what I understand, but that's going to be coming here. They said next year. So they kind of were showing that packaging off. I don't consider showing packaging off a tease, by the way. As long as they say it's coming. If they don't say anything about it, then it's a tease. If it's a preview, in my opinion. If you just show the packaging, you say, "Hey, we acknowledge it," you know. But if you don't acknowledge it, then it's a tease. So that's kind of how I differentiate.
Yeah.
So I mean, there are plans with that.
I'd agree. I agree with that. If it's just a box, like, you know, like There's been other companies that do that. You know, they'll have just like the box out, and they're like, "Oh, we just," and it's like they wanted to. Oh, we want people to see something's coming.
Well,
But we're not talking about it. We're not talking about it. And it's like,
Black
all
Pink
right.
was a tease. I'll give you Black Pink was a tease. They weren't talking anything about that, right? So they didn't acknowledge when it was coming. It was that was a tease. This one was a little different. I think this one they said, yeah, this is what we're gonna plan for next year. It's already out in Europe, kind of. So it was a little different. So yeah, with that. So I thought that was good as well. We had I'll tell you the other guys I got to give a lot of credit to, and these guys are busy every year, and they gave us time. Was Rocky and Nish.
Yes,
Rocky Patel.
I was gonna say Rocky Patel was great.
He's a little tough. He's a little tough to get down, right? And the one thing we learn about Rocky is give 5 minutes, and we got to get in and out with him, right? But he'll give you a good 5 minutes, is what I'm telling you. We managed to get him and Nish this year separate, which was great. And it was a little challenge. We went there day 3 at noon, and he was slammed. And the aficionado guys were in there when we were in there too, and we managed to get him. So it was, like I said, I really got to give it up to Rocky. We every year, Heath Hill, who's a rep we know, helps us out to get to him a little easier. But they always give us the time, and it's not taken for granted on that. For all Rocky does for the industry, he takes care of. I see Rocky skip by a lot of the media guys. I don't understand it. I mean, I still think Oliva's the poster child for nobody covering at the show, right? No doubt, Oliva's like, I still don't understand that one. I go to the Oliva booth, I get help every year. It's an easy booth to cover. Just ask for help, they give you help. So Rocky's a little more challenging. I get that, but you will get the help if you ask.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree. He's always been great to us, and I appreciate him. And, what can I say? I mean, they're another company. I mean, they've been around a long time. They know what they're doing. They know how to do the trade show. They know how to release a product. Last couple of years, like, their products have been pretty exciting. They've been doing some fun stuff outside of just like, oh, here's a regular core line thing. That's like, no, I mean, and Rocky's a big company, and they live off of a lot of their classic stuff that everybody knows them for. But they've been doing some new stuff, some different stuff. The 30th is really cool. They've been getting into the Zodiacs.
It was good. It was good. I smoked, and the Zodiac. I smoked both actually.
Nicole smoked the 30th actually, and I think she really liked it. I can't remember. I have not smoked it yet. I have one more. That I was going to smoke. I actually almost smoked it tonight, but I didn't. But Nicole smoked one, and she really liked it.
I liked it, yeah.
I was going to... So, at this point, a lot of stuff was slated for, like, April, May, in terms of releases. Like, the ship date on a lot of stuff. I noticed it was, like, April, May. So, it was people, I think, had planned, like, we announce the show, and then get it out fairly quickly. There's a lot of stuff that's still yet to go, but I feel like there's a decent amount of things that have already begun to ship, that's where I was going to ask Pat, because I know you weren't at the show, so I know it's hard to give a lot of insight because you weren't there, but I know stuff has begun to ship, whether it was announced right before or at the show, just the new stuff. Out of what you've smoked so far that's new, because I know you're pretty on top of it as it comes into the store. What have you really liked the most? That's either like a show release or pretty much a show release because it was like right before the show.
Yeah, I mean, I've smoked. If it's shipped, I've had it.
Yeah.
I'll just list. I mean, this isn't an exhausted list because short-term memory loss.
No, yeah. I mean, go ahead.
I smoked the Placencia. I've smoked all the Aladino releases. I've smoked the Duque, the only soccer release I've shipped so far. There's more that I've smoked. I'm gonna as I talk about it, I'll probably remember it. The Bandolero Premium, I've smoked that.
Which you reviewed recently. That
I
scored
did
very
review
high.
that. It scored very high.
Yeah.
And I have smoked that cigar in a total of probably 11 times so far.
Really?
And I'm impressed with it every time I smoke it.
Really?
That's what I smoked in the beginning of the show today, actually. Very impressed with that cigar. As the review shows, which I typically, as people, like, even when I was doing reviews on my own, I don't give high scores.
No.
And like, I mean, I talked in the past about how I do a review. I really don't know what the score is going to be until I do the math at the end. And it scored very well.
It
did
did.
very good.
It scored. It's up on the website for those who want to read it. Bandolero Premium.
But there was, I mean, the most recent is Aladino. I had their 85. It's a good cigar. I think that's.
You had the 85?
Yep, I think that's going to be a good land for the end of the year. The I forget what they're calling it. The farm roll one. If you go to the farm, what's the name for it?
The Aladino Tour one, Camp Aladino.
Camp Aladino.
Yeah.
So I was getting freshly over the sinus infection when I smoked those, so it's not fair representation. But I wasn't overly impressed with it, mainly because I don't like the Gobusto size. I think it was a really cool idea that they did with the wrappers, and I don't know why the Gobusto is the format that they chose to do that cigar.
Really? Okay.
People might like it. Just the size to me is just not it. You know, and then I also the band on those cigars has a really intense kind of printed cardboard aroma to it. Like
a cardboard aroma?
Yeah, like the band.
Just the band, not the tobacco, yeah.
Which, I mean, the band sits in the cellar.
Yeah,
so
that's
I
true.
don't know if there's going to be any long-term impacts of that, but that's something I noted because I always smell the cigar when I take it out of the cellar. I have not had a potent aroma from the band on any other cigar I've smoked before. So
it's interesting.
But, you know, I think it's a good year for this. I haven't had the Perdomo yet. I've heard very good things about it. I actually haven't heard one person give anything negative about it.
Yeah, me either.
So I'm sure that's going to be...
It was good. I had one at the show, the Maduro.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah, I've had the Rocky 30th. That was a good cigar. I've had the Year of the Snake. That's a good cigar. So I will say the Plasencia. What is it called? What are they calling it again? I know
Alma
it's like
del
Heavens.
Cielo.
Yeah.
Or Cielo.
I liked it. It wasn't what I thought it was gonna be. It's like smoking I guess the Alma Forte Connecticut, right? It's a mild. It's not like your typical mild cigar, but it's fairly mild. It was a good cigar. It wasn't, above all the other Alma lines that they have. I wouldn't place it above any of the existing lines, and that's just, subjectively. But it was a good cigar. Yeah, I know it's going to be a good year for cigars. There's a lot coming. None of Tat shipped yet, other than the new Fausto sizes, and I have not smoked those because like the gauge is a little bit above what I go for. But I probably will smoke one for review, I'm sure, before the end of the year. No, I think it's a good year for cigars, though. It's a lot of exciting stuff. I mean, we talked about the Fuente booth. I mean, I love Fuente. I said on the show before, it depends how hard it is to get this stuff, right? Like, I think
I don't know how easy it's going to get it.
That's been my big gripe with Fuente, and everyone knows, like, Pat Fuente is the nickname. I love Fuente. I hunt for it. I love it. But it's a lot of the new stuff has been just impossible to get. Like, the Opus 25, we're talking about the 30th. I still have not been able to get a 25, and I vigorously hunt for it. So,
well, I think there's going to be more now. I mean, it's still not going to be easy, but there was extremely limited amounts of them out there.
Yeah.
Like really limited, like even for them. And I think now you're going to see them just come. They're going to come out a little bit more and more and more. And that's the thing about Fuente I have noticed is when they do something new, it takes a few years, and it doesn't make it easier. But when it first comes out, it like the most limited it's ever been. And then as time goes on, they start just releasing more and more and more, and it's still a challenge, but it gets to a point where it becomes less difficult, I feel. And I think with the release of the Churchills, and I think there's more of those the torpedo, like the ones you have, the torpedoes, Coop. I think there's more of those going. So I think just it's a slow rollout. But I think now there will be more of them in the wild as time goes on. That's what I've noticed.
I think
they'll be out.
What I'm most excited for from Fuente is definitely the Rare Earth. I think that's like I love the Anejo, and I'm just excited to have their anniversary Anejo. It's gonna be such a good smoke.
Yeah.
And I like that they're doing the Corojo Anejo.
Me too.
When I saw it, I didn't know what the wrapper was, and I was like, oh, is that a Cameroon? I thought they were gonna kind of bring back the Sand Shark.
I think Rare Earth was one of the more overlooked releases they had too, because I think the Sangre de Toro and the Black Pink got a lot of attention, as well as the Don Carlos 90th. So yeah.
Yeah, the Rare Earth is what I'm looking for. I mean, all of it I'm looking forward to, but the Rare Earth is what caught my attention. When I saw that in the booth, I was like, oh my god. I like got out of my chair. I'm like, Jesus, how am I going to get one of those things?
So something tells me that the Don Carlos ones will probably come out around Father's Day.
Yeah.
Because if I remember correctly, that was the.
You've heard the same thing I heard, Matt. Don't get
Well,
us. Come
well,
on.
hold on. Well, hold
That's
on.
what they're
Hold on, Coop. Hold on. I know what
Okay.
you're getting at. But
Yeah.
if it goes according to plan, which with them it's 50-50, then you should see it by. Let me finish my thought, because hold on. This will all make sense. I promise. You should see it by Father's Day. If it don't ship Father's Day, you won't see it till the holidays.
Right, they're not
going to send it out like mid-August. It's either you're going to see a Father's Day or you're seeing it at the end.
Yeah,
that's
I would
that's
assume that's going to be like a Father's Day release, though. Whether or not it makes it in time.
I think they want it to be.
Because that's
Yes,
when all
I
the
think
other
yeah.
mans and everything ships is around
Yeah.
Father's Day.
I think that's their idea. That's what they want. That's why I said it. But as history tells us, sometimes they just don't make it happen on time.
I feel like if it's not Father's Day, it's going to be next year's Father's Day. Because that's when that cigar ships. Like, all the mans, all the, offshoots of the Don Carlos, they all ship for Father's Day.
Coop, do we see them holding it back a whole nother year, though?
I know I understand where Pat's going, but I don't think so. But here's the only other thing I can see why it would hold back till next year. I believe Carlos Fuente Sr.'s birthday is May, which just passed. So
that's
would
true.
they hold it? Because they're targeting a bunch of stuff for Arturo Fuente's birthday on November 18th, right? We know that. Like, we know the Dupont stuff's being targeted for that, right?
Yes.
So that's another thing. So the next milestone would be that November 18th day where I could see possibly they do it. If they miss that one, then I could see maybe they hold it for Don Carlos's 91st birthday. But they missed Don Carlos's 90th already this year, is where I'm kind of going with that. So it's possible they wait till his birthday next year. Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah. That's why it's the only thing I could see. Normally I'd say, no, I can't see them waiting a year, but if they want to time it with the birthday, they would.
That's true.
Yeah.
And they are a sentimental group.
Yeah, I thought we might see a small release of it, but because that's what they did with Padron's, the the Padron 60th. They did a little on the day the company was founded. Yeah, so yeah, that's a possibility, but I know we'll see. If Fuente gets all of their stuff out this year, they have a good chance to be company of the year. But they have to get the stuff out to do it.
Yeah, I'm probably there with you.
I mean, that's a big, and we know that's, with this type of stuff, and this ain't a knock on Fuente, there's a lot of moving parts with packaging and all that, so it's tough. Is what I'm saying too. So if they come close, maybe they could still get that. Yeah.
Pivoting back though, did you smoke the Bandolero Premium yet, Coop? I know you and I typically agree on a lot of the.
So I haven't. I did get it. The only reason I haven't smoked it, obviously I've been sick, but I am in possession of it. So probably by the next show, I will have something to report back with you on that.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Have you smoked one
Yeah.
yet?
No, I gotta get some.
I've heard nothing but Jay had his #1 cigar at his show, by the way.
Really?
I was shocked because I went into it. I mean, I was excited. I mean, we were skeptical of it on the show because I said it was a Habano 2000, and that's kind of like one of the
You did say something
one of the
about
ugly
that.
duckling leaves.
Yeah.
And well, now the Nelson uses Habano 2000 too, so I'm actually kind of curious how that's gonna smoke because of that wrapper now. But yeah, I was blown away by it.
And the Nelson has finally made it after 5 years.
I know.
So they only did one size in that sampler, but I think more is coming with that. So they changed around a bunch of what they were going to do with that. I mean, there was a different plan originally with that cigar. So, but they changed it. I mean, I think originally they were going to work with different manufacturers with that.
That's what I think. That was the goal. They wanted to work, and it wasn't just different manufacturers. I think they wanted to do like one in each of the countries. Like they wanted to do like a Dominican and Nicaraguan.
That's what. Yeah,
I think that's what I remember hearing.
Yeah, but I think there were different factories too. They were going to work with.
Well, yeah, obviously, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like each one,
Uh,
it was supposed to be like a line of them, and then there was going to be like different ones. Kind of like what Gurkha did with their Year of the Dragon last year. I think that where they went they would kind of do something like that. I think that's what they wanted to do.
Yes.
Yeah, I found it kind of weird though, because it seems like I mean, it's not the same as a Bandolero Premium, but I mean, it's the same story. Like it's the Habano 2000. They ship it to Spain to age for additional period of time. It's like the same kind of outline as the Bandolero Premium.
Coop looks like he's deep in thought.
No, I was just thinking because there's a lot. I mean, I was hearing too. Nelson's gonna start growing tobacco in Spain too.
He's gonna grow it in Spain. Did Jay tell you that?
Well, I heard it at the show. so I want to make sure I heard it right, but I'm looking. That's why I was looking at my notes for a second. So yeah, I believe that's the case. And the other thing is, but I know a lot of people are starting to look at Spain from growing tobacco following the Macanudo emissary. That now that kind of his.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean they already grow tobacco in the Azores, but this is on the mainland of Spain. But now I'm kind of hearing that some other companies, because they had some success with that, so now there are companies looking at that right now. So
I could see Spain being a good growing region for tobacco. I know it's not the same thing, but just like they grow, they make a lot of wine. There's a lot of Spanish wine. They grow a lot of grapes and stuff there. I could see them maybe, like I hear about people growing tobacco in Ireland, and I'm like, Ireland. But Spain, it's obviously it's very untraditional, but actually it kind of makes sense.
Most of the time, when you get out of the big 4 or 5 countries with tobacco, it's disappointing. It usually is underwhelming. Like it sounds sexy and exotic. Oh, I got tobacco from Paraguay or the Philippines or Venezuela. In most cases, it's a flop. That emissary wasn't okay. Some people liked it better than others, but I can't say it was a flop. I think this one actually some people took notice with that one. So and the same I think we're seeing a little bit of it with the Zimbabwe tobacco that Christoph got. That I think they had. That was another one they had some success with. Now
that was good. That was good.
Yeah, and you're seeing more tobaccos out of Zimbabwe and now South Africa. So Luciano did a couple of blends with the South African tobacco this year, and I thought they were very good. So, I got to give Luciano credit on that. So those cigars lived up to the hype, But a lot of times I remember, every time I see Colombian tobacco in a blend, it just usually underwhelms me. It's not a good. But now Christian disclosed that South American tobacco is from Colombia, and that was good. So whatever he was doing with it, it's a good job with that.
Yeah. Mitchell wrote Canadian tobacco, which the only one that comes to mind was the CAO Borealis.
Which it didn't light me on fire. It was different, I'll say that.
Maple syrup infused. Yeah.
So you smoked that Asylum Banana, whatever that is. The Asylum Banana?
Split personality.
Yeah. See, I won't smoke it. And it has nothing to do with anything about Tom Lazuka or Asylum or tobacco. I just don't like banana. So I can't objectively. Not only would I want to smoke it, I can't. I don't like banana. It's nothing to do with it. It's just I couldn't even review that objectively because I don't like banana.
Let me ask you a question: is the banana thing like the egg thing?
Not like the egg thing, but pretty close.
Like if someone pulls out an egg and is like, "Coop, I have a boiled egg," like he runs away. Like it's like
okay. If you could blend the egg in where it dissolves, right? If you could blend the egg in where it dissolves into a sauce or something, that's the only way that kind of
like a Caesar salad, like a traditional Caesar salad dressing.
More like a cookie. You know what I mean? Where that it just
where it cooks.
Yeah, where it's like gone. You know what I mean? But, so banana, I will not pick up a banana. I will not eat anything with banana in it. I don't like banana, but it doesn't, I won't run away from banana like I'll run away from egg. That's the answer on that. So, I mean, I know, I think everything I've heard about that cigar is great. There's nothing, how can I review a banana cigar if I don't like.
Cool Brew was good. This was better.
Cool Brew was okay, but it was too sweet for me, Cool Brew. But you know what? There's a market for that. I'll give them credit on that.
Yeah.
It wasn't a bad thing. It was just a little too sweet for me.
Yeah.
I smoked this very sweet cigar at the show from Esteban Carreras, and they sweeten the whole cigar, not just the tip. So they put that sweetener all over
Yeah,
that.
I have them. They're floating around somewhere. Yep.
They're a little too heavy in sweetness, but there's a market for it, so I won't knock it.
The only thing I'm gonna say it. The only thing about that I noticed, when I was in the booth. I mean, the box looks just like a Liga Privada box. Like too close. And I'm trying to
which one? Wait, which cigar?
maybe it wasn't that one, but Esteban Carreras in the booth, they had boxes, and I'm telling you, you had to have seen it. They had boxes.
I know you. I know
and it was
about.
identical to like a core Liga, like a number 9 or like box.
That their logo, whatever.
It's not even just the logo though; it's the whole box design. It's the same shape. It's got the same strip piping, the branded logo on the lid.
Which I know what you're talking about. Yeah, if you go on the Coop site, you can see it.
It is identical to like a number 9 box.
It was very close.
It's funny. They have a cigar that smokes just like a Nica Rustica, and what is it?
Esteban Carreras?
Yeah, it's the Brother something, right? What is it called? I think it's the Brotherhood or something like that.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
It has that same, like, you know, like how a Liga and Underground and the Nica Rustica, like the way it smokes is like everyone has that conspiracy that they do something with mineral oil for the burn. I don't know if anyone heard that.
Well, yeah, there's
So its point is it has a very distinct smell, and like it's very smoky, and it has like kind of a wet ring that's around the burn line.
Mm-hmm.
That Brotherhood is like the exact same, like copy and paste as that, which I don't.
Coop, have you smoked that?
I have not.
That's interesting. Does Twins carry it?
Yep.
Really? I'll have to try that. I'm curious.
Yeah, I am too.
Yeah, and I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it's, yeah, and I saw that box and I just was like, huh, that's shockingly close. And the pictures I think are on my website too. But I'm gonna see if I can find it. Because I remember I saw that and I was like, and look, I don't want to knock the guys because they were great guys, but I saw that and I was
They
like,
are great guys. They are great guys. Until you said that, I didn't even think of it. By the way.
yeah,
Yeah. I just put up the Esteban Carreras article today on Coop, so I know what you're talking about.
I'll try to pull it up.
yeah.
And I am big fans of those guys, and I really like their cigars too. So.
I thought I did a write-up for them. If not, I know I have the photos.
Yeah, they're on Coop. If you go to Coop, from the Esteban Carreras article came out a couple hours ago. So,
Yeah, I see. Oh yeah. What do you know? That is.
Yeah, right?
I can.
Yeah, I
put
need
it on my cameras. The article Coop posted. And it looks kind of blurry, but you can.
Oh, you know what I'll do?
You get
No,
the
I know
point.
what I'll do. I'll just go to Coop's website and I'll share my screen.
Yeah, that is. I mean,
Matt, I just want to let you know it's 1:45 too, by the way, just so you know.
Yep, thank you. Yeah, we're almost done. So actually, any closing remarks you guys want to add in on this while I grab this? Go right ahead.
No, I mean, like I said, overall I thought it was a good show. Like Pat said, there's a lot of good products come out. We'll see how they score throughout the year. Is always the big thing. There you go.
Is. Now it doesn't show the outside of the box, but I mean, just imagine the outside matches. I mean, like, it's got the same. Like you can kind of tell.
The Pegasus, that's what that is. The Pegasus, they have like.
Yeah.
Which is similar to that lion on the Liga.
And when you look, like they have that same striping on the outside, on the left, same spot, same size,
is that
same shape box. They got the ribbon. They got the thin, dark colored ribbon that goes. I mean, the only thing that this didn't do that they do with Liga is Ligas are uncellophaned. That's really the only difference here.
some of them are? The Unica series are.
Right, but the
Yeah,
standards,
like the core. Yeah.
the core Ligas in like this kind of box. They always come.
This is my OCD critique. Coop, is that your personal box or is that from the booth?
That's from the booth.
The fact that one of
That-
the cigars is not facing the right way infuriates me.
They-
for a display box.
Well, and they didn't have that. That was not a display box. That
Okay,
was
never mind.
kinda-
That's fine then.
Yeah. So he literally, like, I don't know. I think the problem was with that booth was photoing. And they wanted to show me the box up close because photoing these booths the glass is painful.
Oh, we learned that after day one. We had to make so many adjustments because we were having issues with the glass and the lighting, and it was throwing us
The
off.
lighting was the lighting was different than Vegas, so it was very different.
It was. Mitchell can tell you because Mitchell was doing a lot of the camera work,
Yeah,
and we had
I
to make a
bet.
lot of adjustments.
Yeah. So no, it was. I mean, Gurkha was a nightmare at booths. I can tell you that. That was a hard booth to do.
They were, and Gurkha was great. As always, Bianca and Juan, they were great to us. They took
were
great
great.
care of
They
us.
were
It
great,
was tough to shoot the cases, which
It
I'm
was.
not gonna knock them for. I mean, you can't hold that against them. We were able to make it work, but they weren't the only ones. I mean, it was just them. It was really specifically people who had the glass cases with the case lighting inside of it.
Yeah.
Really threw us off.
Yep, that was a big problem in a lot of cases as well. Luciano's booth was very hard to do.
You know where it wasn't as bad was Selected, and the reason is because as much as they had those, they were like inside and it was darker, so it didn't get as much washout with the lighting.
Except the Byron Humidor was too. I was not happy with any of the pictures that came out with that one. The Nelson
Really?
came out great, but the Byron Humidor, I ended up just like when I did the write up. I said I'm just gonna use the press photo. Because I don't want to do injustice to something like that, which is really dependent on showing off that packaging. So, but that was the only one that was difficult to photo, and I think that was the one that was in the center of the booth and everything. So I think that was a little tricky.
Well, guys, I do have a time constraint.
Yep. No,
Tonight,
we'll be back next week, so we'll pick up. There's a lot. We haven't talked a lot about things, but there's other things.
Yeah, there is. There is a lot to unpack, and we're gonna get caught up. So, I have to wrap up now.
Yep. No, you do. That's why.
So, I'm gonna end it there for now. But we're gonna pick right back up next week. We got a lot more to talk about, and we'll go from there. So, thank you for everyone who was with us tonight. Appreciate you guys being here and listening along. Stay tuned for more updates. And as always, head to SmokingTobacco.com for more news, reviews, and updates from the cigar industry. We'll see you next week. Take care.
Take care.